Radiant Technologies is a Canadian manufacturing company creating natural ingredients for customers in the food and beverage, supplement and pharmaceutical industries. Radient has developed a new technology for the extraction of active ingredients from cannabis and hemp. Its patented microwave-assisted processing technology is based on the selective heating of moisture that is present in natural materials, using microwaves as the energy source. The technology creates a targeted, pressure-driven extraction process. Radient Technologies trades under RTI on the TSX Venture.
Hey.
Is anybody coming?
I'm here now with Dennis Tashik. He's the CEO of We're trying to do a show here. I'm here with the CEO of Radient Technologies, Dennis Tashik. Dennis, how are you doing today?
Doing great, James. Thanks very much.
Awesome. I would say, what is the business model of the company? But we've now gotten into the habit of creating that little reel that gives everybody a quick primer on the company. So my question for you, Dennis, is who are your clients and who are you extracting cannabis resin for?
Well, we're extracting in Canada. We'll be extracting for a number of the licensed producers, but most notably our strategic partner is Aurora. And as you know, Aurora Sky is about to go into major production, and our expectation is that we'll be quite busy with Aurora for the balance of the year and into the new year. And as we look into 2020, we'll probably be bringing other Canadian LPs into the manufacturing stack. But right now, it's going to be about Aurora.
Wow. And Aurora is a major investor in Radient as well, aren't they?
That's correct. They hold about 15% of the company today. They do have a right to take that stake up to just under the 20% threshold, but as of today, they're 50%.
Okay, so have all of your processes been tested and on Aurora's product, and is it a case where you already know what to expect and what you're going to get out of it, or is that yet to come?
Well, I think it's a bit of both. We've done obviously some preliminary work, but it's awfully difficult to conduct test manufacturing runs on live material given the value of the material. So what we do from a manufacturing perspective as we validate new processes is we'll try to find proxy materials, and guess what? Industrial hemp is actually not a bad proxy for it. So you do some runs, you get yourself organized in terms of your processes, and then you do is you kick into live production and just continue to improve the process over time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so one of the challenges that I know other investors have is understanding how the revenue model works for extractors who essentially provide a toll extraction service. Like how do you project the margin, the gross margin, and the costs? And what exactly is the nature of your agreement with a company that's a client like Aurora, who you're going to do the extracting for?
Well, some of the questions that you ask, I can only be general in nature at this point in time. But what I can say is, as we look at various extracts, we go on a product-by-product basis, and depending on what the nature of the product is, the economics could be as simple as per gram processing charge. It could be because our process generates some interesting economics from things like improved recoveries and purities and such. That has value as well, and so you could see part of the product pricing model be reflected in semi-royalty structure and semi per gram charge, and in some cases it may very well be a royalty charge. It's going to vary from producer to producer and from product to product. Right?
Sure. Okay. Now, earlier this week, you received your standard processing license from Health Canada, and it had an immediate and profound impact on your share price. And I'm curious as to why did the receipt of that license make such an impact on your share price and investor interest level?
Well, I can only speculate. We don't comment on share prices, but what we can say is it's getting a standard processor's license, getting licensed under Health Canada is not, as you know, an easy thing to do. It's months and months, if not years, worth of hard work, effort, consultations with Health Canada. It's a big deal, and at the end of it, for us, it differentiates between revenue and no revenue, as opposed to, for instance, our partner Aurora, where, well, we get another facility licensed and up and running, it's a little different for them. They already have their core licenses in place to generate the revenue. For us, this is a major milestone as it opens the pathway for our revenue profile here in Canada.
Okay, so is it suddenly a case where, like, okay, everybody get in here, we're going to start extracting finally and crank it all up?
It's pretty close to that. We're not, we're not far from being ready to hit the go button. We'll be in commercial production. I'm guessing literally by the end of February, very, very early March, and it's line it up and let's go.
Interesting. So the revenue model is based on the fact that you get material supplied to you, and so there are obvious reasons to be attracted to that as an investor in a space where the future viability of producing cannabis itself, because due to the commodity nature of the substance, gives you an advantage. But to what extent is an extracting company reliant upon producers of cannabis? I mean, is there some pressure on price and margin for you based on the fact that you have to get your cannabis from somewhere?
Well, I think that's probably a midterm question. Right now, it's all about capacity in the industry, as you know. And even if the Canadian market were saturated today, given the developments that we're seeing in Europe and the number of EU member states that are liberalizing for medical purposes, the demand for cannabis, in particular cannabis oils, is going to continue to grow and increase. What we're seeing in Europe as well is that pricing parameters are holding and are better than they are in Canada. So I think until that situation sorts itself out, which I think is still perhaps 2, 3, even 4 years down the road, I don't think you're going to see the same pressure. We're not going to see the same pressures that you might see on the cultivation side, where you can have bottlenecks in terms of capacity. So that's what we're seeing, anyways, and that's what we're expecting to see.
Okay. Is there any plan on Radiant's part to roll out its own products and perhaps become a vendor of extracted products?
I think that's something that we're going to be obviously in close consultation with our friends from Aurora. They have their own ideas about products in the space, and given the fact that historically we've manufactured ingredients for other industries, we're well placed to assess, advise, and perhaps even take control of some of that product development and those different products. I don't think in the next year or two we're going to be interested in doing that. I think we're more about building our capacity over that short term, and I think looking at different forms of product might be a midterm strategy. But as I said, it's one that we would obviously look at in partnership with Aurora at this point in time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now that you've got your license, how soon till revenue starts to show up on the balance sheet?
Firstly, it'd be on the income statement, and secondly, it'd probably be, I'm going to guess that.
Good point. You got me there.
It was a trick question. It was a trick question.
What's the income doing on the balance sheet?
Everybody's paying attention here.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm paying attention.
I was kicking him under the table.
Thank you. I would say it'd be March is when we're going to see it, and then our fiscal Q1, which is calendar Q2, is when I think we really start to see the revenues rolling. Okay, great. And do you think profitability is on the horizon in 2019? No, I think we're still a bit of a ways out yet. I'd be looking to mid 2020 right now. Mid 2020. Okay. How much of a barrier do you think your relationship with Aurora will be to extracting products for other major LPs in Canada? Do you think there's going to be some resistance to the idea of giving their product to you, who's also extracting for Aurora as a sort of close affiliate? Well, I think you can look to the beverage industry or perhaps the tobacco industry, where you'll find that the very big players don't play well together, and I think we'll fully expect that in terms of our customer profile. So, where I think we'll be able to, to the extent that we have excess capacity, what we'll be doing is looking to the mid-tier and some of the smaller players to fill out the manufacturing stack.
And is, I mean, this is obviously a forward-looking conceptual question. Is it conceivable that Aurora could buy the entirety of Radient if the terms could be met?
I think at the end of it, that's a question you'd have to ask them. I'd like to believe that we're an important part of their world.
Right.
How important, that would be certainly a statement that they could make. But at this point in time, I can't comment on that. Okay,
great. Awesome, Dennis. Well, it's great to have an update on the company, and congratulations on the receipt of your standard license. We'll look forward to talking to you again in the future. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me again, James. Appreciate it.